Greetings from Houston, Texas. Mike coming at you from Astro. And in today's wonderful astrological segment, I will be covering an aspect pattern that gets a lot of attention. It's really pretty to see in somebody's chart. It's a gift to have, but it can be a little bit overrated, or at least presented a little bit off from its actual meaning. We're talking about the Grand Trine, or the Grand Trine. I apologize. The Grand Trine is an aspect pattern that you see pop up in somebody's chart when they have three planets that are all an equal distance away from each other, and they're forming trine aspects to each other. So each planet is 120 degrees away. It'll show up as a blue triangle in your chart if you aren't accustomed to seeing that. The thing about a Grand Trine is it is three planets that are sharing energy with each other seamlessly, flawlessly, effortlessly. And depending on the planets involved, it can create a very confident, easy energy between those three planets. It's very interesting to have. It can come off in a variety of ways. If it's three planets that are like, say, benefic, like let's say we've got Jupiter, Venus, and the moon all forming, trines to each other, making a grand trine. That's a person that's very socially adept. They usually have an abundance of pleasant things to say. They usually attract pleasant circumstances into their life. And if you see, like, I don't know, some negative planets involved, it can actually work in a negative way. So let's say, like, Saturn, Mars, and the Sun all forming trines to each other, making a grand trine. Depending on the sign placements, it can actually come up as quite narcissistic. Because the thing about a grand trine is those parts of your personality implied by the planets are very well integrated into other parts of your personality. So if there is a negative planet involved, like let's say Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, it doesn't, just having the easy aspects from those planets does not change the nature of the planet involved. So it actually can make it more difficult to work through Plutonic issues or Neptunian issues or Saturnian issues because they're very well integrated into your personality. A lot of criminals have grand trines with malefic planets, like let's say Pluto, Mars, and Saturn. That can be, brutality. It just depends on how, of course, it's harnessed and other aspects at play. Another thing about an excess amount of trines within somebody's chart is it makes things come rather easily to the individual. Now, somebody can have a grand trine and then have a bunch of hard aspects elsewhere in the chart that they have challenges to work through, and then the grand trine just kind of helps them navigate it a little bit more easily. But having a lack of hard aspects can produce somebody that doesn't really have to do a whole lot to push themselves to improve over time. So things come really easy to them. They don't have to focus so much on character development. So it, in a way, can hinder people that have that particular aspect pattern from reaching their fullest potential because they just simply don't have to try all that hard. As advice for people that have that pattern in their chart, I would absolutely recommend intentionally putting yourself into situations where you have to push yourself in order to get to where you want to be. Intentionally making yourself uncomfortable. Intentionally doing things that you don't necessarily feel is necessary to get to where you need to be, but taking the hard way just because you know that it will help you build character. That is, because it's the thing about the Grand Trine is when there's no obstacles, there's no growth. You can definitely use it as a strength. And also, you really need to pay, like I said before, you need to pay attention very closely to what planets are at play. In fact, I think a really cool one to have is like Mercury, Mars, and Uranus all in trine to each other. That creates like a wheeler and dealer personality. The mind moves really fast. They act on things quickly. And in that way, it can be a great strength. But it's interesting to analyze. And it's really cool to have one in your chart. Unless it's like Pluto or Saturn, and then it can be kind of crazy. But anyway, I hope that was helpful. Please feel free to reach out to me. I always offer consultations. I will be posting information on how to get a hold of me down below. And please like and subscribe. I appreciate all the continued support that I've received. I wouldn't be where I was at today without it. So thank you all so much. Till next time.